Can I get the sales?
All right. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well tonight. Tonight we are going to continue on with our terrain work. All right. So a couple things I want to cover really quickly before we jump into things is I want to take a quick second out to thank the supporters of the channel. So that is the supporters of the YouTube channel and the Twitch channel alike. Starting with our partners, who are the highest tier of subscription on Patreon and on YouTube memberships. And those are ARCO, Garboli's Inc., Paul S., and Wensheng. I'd also like to thank all the other supporters on the screen on here. They are greatly appreciated as well. So thank you very much for that. This also includes all of the Twitch subscribers. So thank you very much for that. And of course, I would like to take a quick second to thank all of you who are following along with the stream and or the video content on YouTube where this series is archived. So for those of you who are new to the series, this is a series where we are developing a game engine from scratch with minimal use of libraries. There's only a couple of instances where we actually use a library. But other than that, we are going to roll 95 to 99% of this on our own, right? And so the project's been underway for about 2 years now, and it's coming along nicely, you know. But a game engine is quite a lot of work to build, so that's what we're continuing here tonight. So tonight we are going to continue on with our terrain and building that out. So let me go ahead and get a terminal open here, and then I will go to cd development Kohi and get into Vim. All right. And last night we left off, I think, in terrain itself. Let's see. So we actually had most of the initialization code done, with the exceptions of materials, which we are currently disabling for right now. And we are also in the process of modifying our rendering backend to take some of the enhancements that we're going to make in the future. So we had set up our terrain rendering code here yesterday, where we're setting up all of our uniform locations. We decided to go global with everything. I do have a couple hard-coded variables here, so we'll have to eventually fix those. All right, so that is that. Let me take a quick second here to... All right, Midnight. So, Midnight, I actually owe you a pet on stream because I saw that you redeemed it last night, and I did not actually get around to doing that. So, if you're still there, I will go ahead and do that now. I didn't notice it until after I quit the stream last night, actually. So, let me go get a pet on stream before we get into it. Be right back. Okay, so let me just I guess I don't have the audio input set up on that one, so you guys will just have to kind of look off into the corner here. But here is Pumpkin. She is my Japanese bobtail. She is not pleased that I picked her up at the moment. She's angry. She was just about to fall asleep, I think. But she's somewhere between 12 and 13 years old. I don't exactly know. We adopted her when she was a kitten. And we've had her for, I guess, 11 or 12 years now. And so, yeah, this is her. So she's quite the diva sometimes, but she's the sweetest cat I've ever had. So there's that too. But yeah, there is the pet on stream. Also, thank you for the lurk, Midnight. And Tammin, how are you tonight? Good to see you. Welcome. All right. So, let's see. I'm just trying to sort of retrace my steps and remember where we were at. So we have that. Let's see. Where else? What else were we looking at? I think we were looking at... Was it the Vulkan backend? Working while listening to the stream. Perfect. That's awesome. I appreciate the support there. All right, so I don't know if we actually had so we had our new geometry drawing. I think this is fine. Let's do this. Let's open a terminal and get status, because I didn't actually push this code last night like I should have. I should probably do that first, honestly. So we made changes to the back end. We made changes to the render view world. That might have been where we left off, actually. And it looks like we created and or updated our GLSL files. Created our shader config. Okay, so yeah, I'm guessing I probably left off in the render view world. So render view world. All right. And I think this is actually probably, I'm guessing, where we were going to hook up the terrain stuff next. So here we are in build packet. Al Parkin, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Thank you for the support there. So let's see. We have story packet. Here's the on render to do render terrain. Okay. I also have something here to find a generic way to request data such as ambient color. Okay, that is a previous to do. So I think this is probably where we left off. So it looks like for right now, what we're doing is we're getting the geometry data out of the packet. And then we would go ahead and render that here. Now, we haven't actually entered that into the packet, so we probably need to go ahead and do that first. So, in order to do that, we're going to have some way of actually retrieving that. Now, let's see. We build the packet from the simple scene. Right here. So we build one for the skybox. We can skip that. And then here is where we build all of the render data for all the geometries, as well as our frustum culling here, so we can only include geometries that are actually viewed by the camera. We'll have to do that for the terrain as well. And then, yeah, we've got a to-do bad in here. Because we are dynamically destroying this D-array. So there's a couple of those I have to fix too. I really need to get to that at some point soon. But here's where we're building the packet. So the packet is including world geometries as its user data, which was fine up to this point, but the problem is we actually need to include more than just world geometries. We actually need to be a little bit more specific than that. So it looks like here we are literally, let's see, we have, I think, if I remember this correctly, I think we're literally just taking this and cold casting it. So we're going to have to fix that. Let's see, data. Yeah, right here. So we are literally doing a cold cast right there, just to an array of geometry datas. The problem with this, actually, I think that's a D-array. It is. So world geometry is a D-array, and we're just passing it through, passing that directly through as our void pointer, which is, that's not great. So we really should probably come up with a structure of data that we're going to pass to that. And a structure that we could probably just reuse on every frame, I'm thinking. And so that might actually allow us to get rid of this on every frame as well. So, okay, I guess let's go ahead and make that change first. So I'm going to split horizontal here for a second, and I will open render view world H and make a couple modifications to it. Namely, its data. So when we go to build a packet, instead of passing an array here, we'll actually pass a structure. Okay, so let's go ahead and define that. So type def struct. We'll call this render view world data. Right, and we will go ahead and do I want to call that packet data? It's not really packet data at this point, though. I'll just stick with this for now. All right. And in this, we are going to have a D array of geometries. So we'll have geometry render data, and we'll have an array of those, and we'll just call those world geometries. And since we don't have, actually we might, does renderer types include that? It is in the renderer types. Perfect. Okay, so we can use that there. The next thing that we'll do is, do we not have terrain render data? I thought that we had oops, I want a horizontal split. I thought that we had terrain geometry. We have geometry render data. So we did not define a new structure for that. Okay. All right, I'll stick with that for now. So this case, I'll just say geometry render data again. This is just going to be one, though. Well, I guess we could have multiple terrains, right? So we better make this an array too. Terrain geometries. And this is also D-array. Right. So for now, I guess that's all we'll pass. And we'll just create that once and reuse it in the simple scene. So I can get rid of this, and I guess we could have the simple scene itself cache that. That way we don't have to do it like statically or something gross like that. So if we take a look at the simple scene structure, this has all of our stuff for our directional light, our point lights, our meshes, pending meshes, which I'm still not sure we're actually going to use, and the config. So yeah, I'm going to plug it in here. So I'll say render view world data. And we'll call this world data. And we will just reuse this structure to be reused every frame. Okay. Why is this saying it's an unknown type? Do we not have... Oh, because we forward declared everything. Well, we are going to have to include... Yeah, I think that's okay to include that here. Actually, render view world H is included. So why are you not finding it? Do we need to write this? Maybe. Yeah, that must have been what it was. Okay. So we have the world data there, which means we need to go to scene create. Why? That's rude. Go to implementation, maybe? Oh, because we're in the H file. I don't need that. Okay, so simple scene. We will go to create, and in here, after we go ahead and do all the other stuff, actually, do we need to do anything? Yes, we do. Out scene. What did we just call that? I thought it was world data. It's not in struct simple scene. Really? Simple scene C. Huh. We do have, all right. Did we not, did I put that in the wrong place or something? I thought I put it right below that, but maybe I didn't. Where did I put that? I could have swore I put it right here just a minute ago. Maybe I'm tripping. Okay. So we want world view, render view world data, world data. Simple scene.c. Let's see. There it is. Okay, so world geometries equals d array create, and that is going to be, was that geometry? Render data. And then we basically just need to do the same thing for outscene world data terrain geometries equals darray create geometry render data. Okay. So that way we have those. And then if we don't wind up using them, we just have like empty arrays. So that's the create. That also means that we need to go to the destroy, which is actually the unload, which actually needs to be done in this one here. Guess we'll tack this onto the end of this method. Right before we zero out the memory, we will say if scene world data world geometries, then move this up a little bit. Darray destroy scene world data world geometries, right? And then we can just copy pasta this, and instead of world geometries, we will terrain geometries is what we want. Okay. We're not going to bother zeroing those out because that's done here. So that should be good there. Now, the next thing that we should do is... What did I just do there? Let's go to... I don't think I need to do anything in initialize. We're going to have to go through these. Actually, I don't think we have to go through those. Let's see. I think it's just this populate render packet is the only thing we have to worry about. All right, so cache this somewhere so we don't have to check this every time. What are we doing here? Oh, we're looking through the packet views. Okay, yeah, that is another issue I'm going to have to solve, but I'm not going to solve that tonight. Okay. Didn't we create this? I thought we created this up here somewhere. Darray push, darray destroy, world geometries. Let's see where all of the instances of this are. So not those two, not that one. Here we go. So world geometries. This is where we are reserving for geometries. And I guess that's to avoid too many reallocations. So that's actually something to think about. That's a valid point, actually. I don't want to lose that. So let's go back to the top where we are setting that up. And for this one, at least, since there's a high probability that we're going to have a high number of geometries, let's do a reserve here. And then here, I think it was 512. Do I have those backwards? Type capacity. Okay, no, I'm good. Okay, so note starting with a reasonably high number to avoid reallocs. in the beginning, I guess. So the thing about this is this will never shrink. So it's only ever going to grow. So once we get past a certain number of regex, we're probably not going to do it anymore, but we want to avoid some hiccups on those first couple, just by starting off with a reasonably high number. It's not going to take that much memory, right? Not in the grand scheme of things. All right, those 3 lines can go away. And instead of doing world geometries here, we are going to do scene world data dot world geometries. And we are going to delete this. One thing we should probably also do, since we are pushing, is we actually need to come up here at the very beginning. Before we do anything else, make sure to clear the world geometry array. We're going to clear it but not destroy it. So d-array clear, and then scene world data world geometries. All right. So technically that stuff wasn't related to terrains, but it still needed to be done. All right. Let's go ahead and write all buffers here, and I'm going to switch to the terminal for a second, and I'm going to build, let me see, simple scene, undeclared identifier, world geometries. So we have one left in there somewhere. Simple scene.c. Okay. So world geometries. Where did we not get rid of one? World geometries. I think these are all associated with that except the one that's in a comment here. Do we forget to write that one? Oh, it's in the wait. Hmm. $345. Oh, right. Right there. Okay, so we're going to replace this with scene world data, and we want the address of that. Okay. Now we're actually going to have to go back into the... We'll have to go back into the view. And we're now going to treat this view, or the data that's coming into this view, instead of cold casting it here. This is going to now be a, oops. What did I call that? Simple render view world data, I think it was. Yeah, render view world data. All right, so we've got one there, and then we have one here, render view world data. I'm also going to rename this to world data. So it's a little bit more explicit to what we're dealing with. And then I'm sure that we're probably going to have world data. Okay, so this needs to be changed to world data.world geometries. This is going to be world data.world geometries sub I. Same thing's going to be true here. So world geometries sub I. World geometries sub I. We probably shouldn't be doing that so many times. In fact, why are we doing that so many times? Why aren't we just using the gdata pointer? We probably should be doing that. In fact, I'm just going to switch that because we don't need to be indexing that so many times. So we have a pointer, we might as well use it. This is going to be gdata. Let's see. Why doesn't this like this? Dereference. Oh, it wants a copy of it. I suppose that's fine. It's a lot of data being copied around. I'm not sure that I love it, but it is what it is. Okay, so world data, I think that's all of them. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so we have that sorted. So I'm going to really quickly build, and I want to go ahead and run this real fast just to make sure that we didn't horribly break anything. Why are you not? There we go. All right, and we'll load up. All right, let's see. Packet geometries, material. Interesting. Why has it broken there? Doesn't like something that we've done. Packet geometry count. Count is 24. Self. I don't think that's the issue. This is actually on the render view world. So this is in the actual render itself. Oh, we have internal data being passed here. I wonder if we didn't copy over something correct. So let's take a look at this internal data here. I'll move this guy down. So there's the shader. No, this all looks correct. So I don't think it's that. Maybe the packet. Geometries. That looks like garbage data to me. So we've done something. I wonder if me messing with that, yeah, I think I know what it might be, actually. Let's, all right. Let's go back to up here where we were doing the changes for the data. So I think this was, I wonder if this messed it up. So world data, world geometries, sub I. All right, let's go over here. Let's build, and we'll try running again. Looks like the same thing. Okay, so what did we... What did we change here that must have broken things? Let's just take a second to review here. You know what? I'm going to get rid of this down here so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Yes, this is NeoVim. Yep. I'm switching to it just because I've been daily driving it for a while now, and I like it quite a lot. Wallpaper. The wallpaper here is just like the default wallpaper that comes with what is it? The desktop I'm using. So it's just kind of the default one. Hyperland. Couldn't think of the word. Yeah, it's pretty sweet wallpaper. That's why I haven't really changed it. It's kind of a neat default. Okay, so the world data, I wonder if we're passing it to this correctly. So let's take a look at simple scene where we're passing this on. Scene, world data, geometries. So we're pushing to that array correctly. Where we are building the packets, we are passing the address of that. So that should be fine. Okay. So we're basically just passing one of these now. It's going to be something stupid that I've missed. I can almost guarantee it. So world geometries is now world data, world geometries. DRA push. Oh, this might not have been a pointer before. I'll bet that's what it was. I'll bet that's what it was. That wasn't a pointer before. I think it should just be world data Okay, well, I was trying to save myself here, but clearly I shouldn't have done that. I can almost guarantee that's what it was, actually. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch back to the terminal. Build, and we'll go ahead and run. And load up a scene. Okay, yeah, that was it. Okay, so so those changes are good now. So the next thing we can start to do is start to implement the building of our packet data for our terrain. However, to do that, we need to go to simple scene. And we don't actually have a terrain in the simple scene yet. So that is going to be the next thing that we have to do. So Dr. Falcon, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. So to do add terrain. Technically, multiple of them. All right. So we're going to have to start adding terrain to our simple scene, which, we don't have any methods for any of that and whatnot. So we're actually going to have to do that first. I could hard code it or like hack it into the simple scene, but then that's going to make more work for me later on. So I really don't want to do that. I think I'm just going to do it the right way. So let's go to definition of this. And are we forward declaring all of these things? We are. Okay. So struct terrain. And then I guess we'll put right here the array of terrains. Because again, we're going to support multiples of these. So struct terrain terrains. All right. We're going to need to define a few methods here. Just going to kind of plug them in right in between all these other ones. So need to export this. Let's say B8 simple scene add terrain. Obviously, we'll take the simple scene, a name for it, struct terrain. We'll just call it T. And then we also need to have a way to remove it. So we'll do that here as well. KPI, B8, simple scene, remove terrain, simple scene, and then by name. Okay. And then we also need to have a way to get it. So again, we're going to export this struct terrain pointer simple scene. How do we do this? Terrain get simple scene and a name. Right? So that's all the changes we should need for that. And then we'll have to go into the C file and do it there as well. So I'm actually going to split this and then simple scene C. And let's see, we'll do add. We'll go to add skybox because we'll do this right below where we added the skybox. All right, so we're going to kind of scaffold this the same way as we did the other ones. So up here we have add terrain. So let's go ahead and grab that, and we will come here and paste it. And I guess I could just stub out these other ones so I can get rid of this other window here. So let's do that. We want to remove the terrain. So we've got that. Whoops. Deselected there. So remove, again, right below skybox. So we'll do it here. And then all we have left is the get, which we'll put there. And we'll just get this and put it here. All right. So I think I'm going to do the getter first, just because that's super simple, and I'm actually just going to use the same thing as for mesh. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see. So all right, so if we don't have a scene, then we don't do anything. We should probably check name too, or no name. Right, we need both of those things. So we go through and we want to look at terrains. This is also going to be terrains. Terrains don't have a name. That's a thing. So let's go to, actually, yeah, that's a thing. So we need, we're going to need a name here. Wait, we do have a name. Why is this complaining then? I was going to say, I could have swore I did that. Oh, I'm missing an S. The issue wasn't the name. Okay. Terrains. Okay. This is going to return terrain. Subscript pointer to incomplete type. Right, because we have not included it. So I guess we'll do that right here. We'll include resources, terrain. That should clean that up. And then does not include a terrain called whatever. Okay. So there's the get. Simple enough. So let's do, I guess we'll do add terrain next. Shouldn't it be a simple scene get terrain to keep consistency with the rest of the API? I've kind of gone back and forth on that a couple of times, because a lot of the API that I have written so far is sort of like thing, object, verb at the end. So I'm kind of like, yeah, system, action, object. I kind of have system, object, action is kind of what I've been doing. And I really need to go through and like switch everything to be that. Especially, I should probably do it now before we actually like start having official releases. But yeah, in general, I've been trying to switch more to system, object, action. Oh, did I do add terrain? Oh, you're right. What a dingus. I did do that. And remove. Yep, I see. No, I see what you mean now. Yeah. Derp. These are actually the ones that are wrong. Yeah, good point. Thank you for pointing that out. I guess I'll add. Whoops, that's not get. These are adds. What am I doing? Oops, don't want to delete all that. Okay. Let me get rid of these first, and then I'll do. I'll just put these here. Oops, one more back. So we have add, and then we'll do remove, and then remove. I didn't even notice I was doing that. That would have been really bad. Appreciate you catching that. One more remove here. Okay. Now that's consistent. Of course, now I have to do it in the C file as well. Okay. So, blah. Okay. I can't even really put it off either. I have to kind of do it now. All right. Oh, what happened? Yeah, it should just be. Did I do this one? No. So this is going to be directional light add, and then have add there, remove there. Mesh add. Let's see. Skybox add. And terrain add. And then remove. Couldn't remember where I did the nope, that's not gonna work because I have the underscore after. All right. Let's see. Remove. 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 Almost done.
last one down here. Remove. Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a general pass for sure. Yeah, inconsistencies for sure. Part of the problem is like ordinarily on a regular code base, you wouldn't code on it for 2 hours and then walk away for several days on an and, at once, and then come back to it and then keep going. Like ordinarily, you'd kind of work on it day after day after day, but I can't do that since I'm live streaming all of it. Like light system add something. Yeah, exactly. There's a bunch of those that I have to sort of go through and refactor. Cool. All right. I think I got them all. So I think all I have to do now is just fill out the remove and the add. So in this case, it's basically the same as this. So I'm going to select all of this and come down here and put that. So I'm going to rename this to terrain count, and then change this to terrains, and then terrains, terrains. Oh, mesh unload. Yeah, that's funny. Terrain unload. Failed to unload. Okay, change that. Change this to meshes, from meshes to terrain, rather. All right, I think that's all of them there. Oh, really? This is another copy pasta error. So that means that the mesh up here is wrong as well. This should say mesh. Mesh. Okay. So there's the removal. I might think about macroing this at some point, just to kind of clean up the amount of repeated code here. Not a huge fan of that, but for now it'll work. All right, so the add, again, is going to be pretty much the same as the terrains. So I'm going to just grab all of this and plop it in here. This is going to check for T. This is going to be terrain initialize, T, terrain failed to initialize, terrain load, terrain, I don't want help. Keep hitting F1 by accident. I'm going to have to disable that, I guess. Change this to terrains, and then change that to T. And I think that is all there is to it. Mesh rubbish shouldn't be terrain. Did I miss that somewhere? Trying to understand how line numbers work on Vim so I can be more specific. Oh, okay. So this is the way that I have it configured. is basically the line that I'm on displays the line number, the actual line number. And then it counts from 1 up in both directions, up and down. And that's because I can move like a number of lines at a time. So if I type 5J on the keyboard, I move down 5 lines. So I can kind of look at what this number is and say, okay, that's 10 lines down. I could just do, 8J and move to it. I'm not really in the habit of doing that yet, but that's the idea. Okay, so mesh rubbish. Did I not have? Scene mesh remove. Oh, yep, here it is. Good call. Good call. I mean, I suppose it doesn't matter just because it's rubbish, but it could potentially corrupt the stack, I guess. Cool. All right, so for any of you out there that are watching that haven't asked anything or commented or whatnot, this is an interactive stream. So the idea behind this is if you have questions along the way or you find one of my screw ups, Taman is pretty on fire with that tonight, which I appreciate, by the way. But yeah, if you have any questions or comments or you see something that I've done wrong, feel free to jump in the chat and interact. And I'm keeping an eye on it, so I try to do the best with that as I can. All right. I think we might be done here for now. Do we still have a terminal open? We do. Let me build real quick, because I have a feeling I missed something. Simple scene. Undeclared function is simple scene. Remove directional light. Oh, that's probably because... Okay. Let's go to simple scene, remove directional light. There it is, right there. So this should actually be simple scene directional light. Remove. So let's build. Okay. All right. So we're good here. Why do you not always switch? Okay. It's being a bananas, apparently. All right. So the next thing that we need to do is in our render view... No, we actually have more to do in our simple scene. When we populate the render packet, we need a way to pull the terrains. Don't know why I hit that. Okay. So that is the next thing we're going to do. So I think we're going to use the same view. So we don't actually need to cycle out of that. Yeah, so it should be here. I guess all we really need to do is just loop through terrains. Okay. So we'll get a U32 terrain account from darray length, and that's going to be scene terrains. And then we'll do for U32I equals 0. I is less than terrain count plus I. And I think what we'll do for now, we're not going to actually bother with any of this checking here, at least not yet. Do we have a generation on the terrain yet? I don't think we do. No. Probably should. Okay. So let me put a couple to-dos in here. Check terrain generation. And then to-do frustum culling. And we're probably going to hold off on frustum culling until we actually split up our terrain into like blocks. For now, we're just going to have a huge terrain, a huge mesh, and then we'll worry about chunking that up later. So I think for right now, we're going to do darray push, and the array is going to be scene world data, world data, terrain geometries, and the value is going to be scene terrains sub I geometry. And I think that is just a geometry, it's not a pointer. Okay. So we should be good with that. So go ahead and push that. One more thing that we didn't do up here was we cleared the world geometries. We did not clear the scene terrains. Scene world data. Terrain geometries. Got to clear that one too. All right. I think that is all we're basically doing. Oh, what am I doing? I can't do... No, I need to create one of these. I can't push the... I knew that didn't feel right. Okay. We need a geometry render data. We'll call this data, and we will pre-populate it with all zeros. The data.model. Do we have a transform on this? We do. Okay, so we should just be able to say transform get world. See, there's another one of those gets. Then we should be able to say terrain. Scene terrains, rather. Scene terrains sub I dot xform. All right. We probably need the address of that. All right, so we'll get that. The data dot geometry is equal to this. The data dot unique ID we don't necessarily have yet. And that is going to be for picking, object picking. So I'm going to have to put a to-do there too. Terrain unique ID for object picking. Right, because remember this same data packet is actually passed to the pick pass. So Rox Codes, thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate that. 13 people, wow. That's awesome. Well, welcome everybody. So this is actually the first time I've gotten a raid on this channel, so this is awesome. Welcome you guys. We are making a game engine here from scratch in C using Vulkan. This is a project I've been working on for about 2 years now. Oh, thank you guys so much for the follows. I really appreciate that. So it's been underway for about 2 years. I've only been on Twitch now for a couple of months. Primarily, this started off as a YouTube series, and it was sort of started off as kind of this tutorial-based thing. And then the more I went on, the more I realized that a tutorial format didn't really work. And then I kind of basically switched to this live stream format so that I can basically do everything on the fly and kind of go over my thought processes and the way that I'm thinking as I'm coding, because I figure that that's probably valuable, right? Much more so than having, a simple structured, here's a bunch of code and here's the thing it could do, but not necessarily the why, right? So that's what we're doing here. And right now I'm in the process of adding terrains to the game engine. So I have a couple of things broken here, so I should be able to patch things up really quickly and be able to show you what we have so far, at least as far as that goes. Got to run for food, sadly, but have an awesome stream. Thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate that. That's really awesome of you. Mini raid from a mini stream. Yeah, I totally get it. And I am going to go ahead and give you a follow right now, because I have not seen your stream. So next time I catch you online, I will definitely tune in. So thank you again so much. I really appreciate that. All right. Okay. So basically what I'm doing right now is I am kind of putting all this stuff into place to be able to render terrains. I don't have all of the terrain logic set up yet. I'm basically plugging it into our different systems, so that way when I do have the terrain geometry generated, we can go ahead and render it. So I'm working right now in our simple scene to populate a render packet that then goes off to the renderer and gets rendered. So that is kind of what I'm working on right now. Cool. I was going to push this data into our dynamic array here, and I guess I could increase this counter as well. So our p frame data, drawn mesh count plus plus. I'm going to put another to do here because we should have counter for terrain meshes. I guess geometries is sort of the geometries is the term I'm looking for there. So right now our terrain is going to be one big geometry. So eventually we're going to have that split up, and then we'll do some frustum culling like we do for our regular meshes. Once we have that chunked up, and we'll put all that logic right here as to what gets drawn and what doesn't. Okay, what do I have? Oh, this needs to be the address of that. Let me go ahead and see if this will compile so I can actually show you guys what the heck we're doing around these parts. Okay, so it compiles. Let me go ahead and run. I need to fix that. I have to have a C file open, and that's kind of annoying. Okay, so here is our testbed application. So it starts off with just some basic text on the screen. This is designed to be not an editor, not a game, not anything like that. It's literally just a testbed. So when I add features, this is sort of the consumer of our engine, right? And so I've got some text here that we just load up with some debug information and things like that on it. And then I can go ahead and press L on the keyboard and load up a scene, and hopefully that doesn't break, but I have a feeling it did. but I am messing with stuff here. So return header field array. Do I have an uninitialized array is the question. That is the question. So what I really need to see it looks like one of my arrays is definitely not good. All right, so let me quit this. And double check what I just did because I have a feeling that I might have borked this somehow. So I have terrain geometries being pushed to there. You know, I guess I could just comment this out. Wow, that syntax highlighting is messed up, but okay. If it'll allow us to work here, I don't care. All right, so let's try this again. There we go. Okay, so it's nothing fancy to look at just yet. We do have a couple of different things here. Some test meshes that are loaded. We do have a little bit of a weird aspect ratio just because of my windowing system here is a tiling window manager. But you can see here that we do have dynamic lighting. We have a light over here that's basically on a sine wave for both of its position as well as its color. We have a couple of other lights there. We have a directional light. We can view just the lighting information or just the normal information for debug purposes. So, you know, we have quite a few different things going on here. You know, it's just, like I said, it's an engine that's in progress, right? So this is kind of where we're at the moment. So I'm looking for something more interesting than this scene. So we have something to, you know, maybe add to our crappy skybox here, which is why I'm wanting to do terrains. So, but yeah, we have built everything in here from scratch, with the exception of there are a couple of libraries that I'm using within the engine, which is STB image for loading various texture files, image texture files like PNGs, Targos, things like that. And then TrueType for loading up fonts. Neither one of those things would be well served to write from scratch. It's a solved problem. There's not really much point in doing that. What do we do with our hands? I don't know what you mean. What do you mean by that? Let me see. All right, so I'm going to undo this and see if I can figure out. Did I not? Oh, I know what it is. I did not initialize the terrains array on create. So create. We added a terrains array, but we did not set it up, and we're using it, so that's bad. Out scene, terrains, freedom DAO. Thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate that. Array create, and this is going to be for terrains. Okay, I can almost guarantee that's what it is actually. So let me go ahead and build one more time. And we'll run. And I think it'll run now with the new code in place. Even though we don't have a terrain yet. Yeah, okay. So that was that. Okay. So. Oh, it's a Ricky Bobby reference. I just came in raid. Great. I'm joking. Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. I'm never the best with references like that. Sometimes I'll catch it, but I tend to miss them quite a lot. All right. So I guess we have that hooked up. So we're building our render packet. I guess the next thing to do is, I think that's all the work we have to do in Simple Scene, actually, other than these to-dos. So I guess we need to go back to the view and address that there. So we package up all that data to send over to the view to build a packet. So the out packet geometries is an array of render data. And we're probably going to wind up switching this geometry structure out at some point, I think. Because right now it references directly geometry, and I think we're going to wind up having to change that structure. So right now it's referencing it directly, right? And I think I'm going to wind up having terrain geometry because I think it's going to have to create, it's going to have to contain different data. So I think what I'm going to do is go here and create another array. So I'll say brief, the terrain geometries to be drawn. And this will sort of keep it separate as a feature as well. So for now, I'm going to put geometry render data, and I'll put terrain geometries. All right. And then here, I will say out packet terrain geometries equals the array create geometry render data. And that should be all we need to do there. Unfortunately, again, these are more allocations that we're having to make per frame, and we're not using our frame allocator for this yet because 3D arrays don't support that. That's something I'm going to have to address very shortly, I think. All right. So here is where we split out our transparent meshes from our opaque meshes. So it basically just looks at the material and says, hey, do you have any transparency? And if it does, it keeps it in a separate array and then sorts it by distance. Otherwise, if it's opaque, it just pushes it to the out packet geometries array right away. So that is for the geometry. And then we come here and we sort the distances and then add those to the packet geometry. So right after this is where we're going to do the terrain. So we just want to say U32 terrain count equals the array length. And that's going to be packet. Or is it out packet? Is it out packet? Out packet. Oh, wait. No, it's world data. I don't want to use that yet. I need world data. World data, terrain geometries, right? That's the incoming data. So now I can loop through that. U32 I equals 0, I is less than terrain count, plus plus I, right? And then for each one of these, I think all I have to do is push it directly to the D array. So D array push We have out packet terrain geometries, and we want to push the world data terrain geometries sub I. And then we actually have a geometry count plus plus here. What is the geometries to be drawn? The number of geometries to be drawn, which is technically included here too. But I'm going to separate this as well. So I'll say U32 terrain geometry count. Even though that's a D-array, in case I ever change it out, I want to keep it separate. Brief. The number of terrain geometries to be drawn. All right. So here we will just do out packet terrain geometry count plus plus. Okay. We don't have to clean up anything here except for the temporary geometry distances D-array. So that is fine. When we destroy the packet though, we do need to D-array destroy Taman, thank you so much for the Prime. I really appreciate that. Appreciate the support. Thank you. D-array destroy packet terrain geometries. All right, so that's the packet destroy, and then the on render is where we do the terrain render. So we literally should just be able to, I think we can just call terrain render because terrain render does all this other stuff, all this material stuff that this does. So we're not going to handle materials the typical way, at least not for right now, for terrains. So we should be able to say U32 terrain count equals D-array. Actually, no, packet terrain geometry count. And then for U32, I is safe to use. Yeah, we used P up here. Okay. I equals 0. And then we have I is less than terrain count plus plus I. Right? And then terrain render. And then I'm just going to remove all this stuff. We have a lot of stuff to pass to it. So that's going to be packet terrain geometries sub I. We're going to need the address of that. Right. What else do we need? Peak definition, why aren't you working? I guess because it's... Let's pull up terrain render over here. So we need the frame data. Move this up here so you guys can see it. And you know what? I'm going to break this up into multiple lines because this is quite a lot of arguments here. I hate having to scroll to the side. Not really a fan of that. I suppose I could like create a structure and pass that in instead, but then I have to create a structure, pass it in. So I don't know. I don't think one way is necessarily cleaner than the other. So, all right. So it needs that. It needs the frame data, which I think we already do have. Wow, do we really not have that here? I thought we did. Render packet. Frame number, render target index. That's all we have. How do we not have the frame data here? So that's a problem. So we need the frame data. You know what? Let's actually just say let's assume that we have it for the moment. I guess we could say packet. So we'll do our matrices. So we have the projection matrix, packet, view matrix, does that really want the model matrix? Okay, so we'll say packet, terrain geometries, sub-I, model. The ambient color. The ambient color I don't think we have either. So I'm just going to plug that in there for right now. Packet. Oh, we do have that. Okay, I'll have to go back and fix that. View position. So packet, ambient color. Okay, view position, and then do we have the render mode by chance? I don't think we do. Okay, so render mode, I'm just going to pass 0 for right now. Render mode 0 is sort of the default render mode. All right, so I guess really the only thing we're missing is the p-frame data, which is actually kind of surprising we don't have that here anywhere. At all. Okay. So that's something that we probably are going to need to modify our view system to pass down, because I'm actually pretty sure that our view system has that. Let's see, we have creates, build packet, linear allocator, data, frame allocator. Okay. So this is one of the systems that doesn't have our frame data updates. We don't have that because we only have been applying that as we kind of need it. So that might actually be the next thing we have to do. Really didn't want to do that. The build packet, technically the build packet and the render should both have it. Shoot. Because we have things in here like delta time, total time, drawn mesh count, our frame allocator. So we're like already passing this in a lot of places, but not all of them. Okay. So I guess I need to do Render view system on render. So I need to find out view system on render. And that's going to be the renderer front end that calls that. And I think we do have p-frame data here. So that's actually not going to be that difficult to pass through because we already have it here. So let's split this horizontal, and we will go back to render view system. And we technically should do it for the build packet as well. But for right now, I think I'm just going to do it here. So we have the view packet, the frame number, whoops, the render target index, which I guess, let's see, where are we populating that p-frame data? That's populated before. I wonder if we should include that data in here. I'm not going to just yet, I don't think. I think I'm just going to keep this simple. All right, so that's build packet. Let me scroll this up so you guys aren't behind me there. So let's go all the way over. So we have packet frame number. We'll tack it onto the end here. So we'll say actually frame data, p frame data. All right, and of course we don't have that here. So we're just going to say struct, whoops, and we will forward declare it. Struct frame data. All right. That should be all we need to do there. The renderer front end can now pass p frame data here. I'm guessing it's bleating about discarding qualifiers. Yep. Okay. So this should be const. Right, that fixes that one. So now we'll have to go to render view system C. And we'll go to the moment when you need a full engine in order to develop an engine. I know, right? Yeah, it's eventually it's going to become like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like I think at some point I am actually going to be able to use parts of the engine to make the engine. Like when we get a UI editor in place, like after the base UI system is written, like all the editor UI is going to be basically built by the UI editor, if that makes sense. That's my plan there. Okay, so what was I doing here? On render. So I need to go to the end here and const frame data pointer p frame data. Right, and we don't have frame data in here. We actually need to I can just use a structure here because I don't think I need to access any of its properties at this level. So that actually works out kind of nice. Okay, so we have render view system on render, and then we're going to have to modify this interface, which means we're going to have to modify all of our interface or all of our systems that use on render. All of our, sorry, not our systems, our views. So that's fun. Peak definition. This is going to take a, let's see, frame number. So it's basically going to be the same thing. Const struct frame data pointer p frame data. Dev, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Appreciate the support there. Does renderer types actually include that? It does not. But we already have it for declared. Perfect. Okay. So we can get out of that one. And so now our interface here will take in p frame data. Just pass that through. And now all we have to do is go modify all of our views, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So view, thankfully I think we only have 4 of them. And this parameter is not going to be used by most of them. So we'll say struct frame data, and then at the end here, const struct frame data pointer p frame data. And I'm going to select this so I can copy paste it rather. Copy paste. I don't know why I went Irish there for a second, but I guess it happens to all of us sometimes. So we'll go to that. And let's see, that's Skybox C is what I'm going to want. Skybox C. Right there. Whoops, I don't want Skybox C. I want the Skybox view. View Skybox C. Render view on render. So we'll go here. We'll put this there. Close, I need a comma. Whoops. All right, so I'm going to save that. That doesn't need anything else, so we'll do the world next. So struct frame data. This is probably one of those cases where if we had a structure, this would be a lot easier. But unfortunately, we don't. Const struct frame data pointer p frame data. View C files here. Go to the end. Const struct frame data pointer p frame data. Save that. View. We'll do the pick one next. Struct frame data. And we will const struct frame data pointer p frame data. Save that. View. Let's see, I was doing the pick one next. Yeah, we'll go to the end of the line here, and const struct frame data pointer p frame data. Fortunately, there's not really a better way of changing interfaces this way. No amount of refactoring tools seem to ever catch this. So, why is this bleating? Conflicting types. Render view, pick on render. Didn't I do this one? I did that one. Const struct. Okay, I guess it's just tripping for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it'll sort itself out after I build. So view, UI is the last one. Go here to the end. Const struct frame data, pointer p frame data. And I need to come up here, struct frame data. Oh, maybe that's what I did on the view pick. Did I forget to? No, I did forward declare it. I don't know. All right, view UI C. Render. Const struct frame data pointer frame p frame data. All right. I have a feeling I bungled something somewhere, so I'm going to switch to my terminal and build. Render front end, too few arguments and function call. Did I not save that in the render front end? Let me just write all my buffers. Conflicting types. Render view pick on render. Previous declaration is here. Render view pick H doesn't have a definition, really. View pick dot H. It's right there. What am I missing? P frame data. Oh, I see what I did. I put it on the wrong function. I assumed it was the bottom function. It's not. Okay. Had a feeling it was something stupid. Let's get that out of there. And that belongs here. There. Okay, now we're down to couple. Okay, so terrain. Let's do the render view world one first, actually. Incompatible pointer types passing. Render geometry data to parameter of type terrain. What? Okay. Render view world. C. 266. Oh. Right, because it's passing the... So this wants the actual terrain, not the geometry. That's an issue. So if we look in terrain render, it takes a pointer to the terrain, and then from that sets all the uniforms. Oh, this stuff should probably be done in the view. Come to think about it. You see, we're creating one of these here, and we shouldn't be. This should be done by the view. Okay. So what I'm going to do... Oof. So I'm going to have to move all these terrain locations. Okay, I knew this didn't feel right when I put it together. See, and this is part of the thing about doing this live, right? Is it highlights the mistakes that you might make along the way. And this is definitely one of them. So initially I was thinking it's like, well, we can have this nice render function that's wrapped up here where we just pass the terrain and we do the thing and it's fine. But it kind of goes against everything that we've architected over here, where realistically the view should be doing all of this work, right? Like the terrain itself shouldn't care about uniforms or what shader it's being rendered by or any of that crap, right? It should just be concerned with its own data. And then the fact that it gets rendered is sort of outside of its own concern, right? That's up to the renderer and or the view to determine how it gets rendered. So I think what I'll do is I'll just highlight all of this all the way to the end here, and I'll cut it, and I will come in here and paste it. And of course all this tabbing is completely wrong, but we can fix that later. All right, so our terrain locations have got to change. That means that the view needs to actually be responsible for that. So we load the shader here, the material shader. So that's probably where we should also load the terrain shader, come to think of it. I think that makes the most sense. Okay. To do load terrain shader. And I say to do here because we don't actually have the shader complete yet. Well, actually, maybe we have it complete enough it might load. Okay, so I guess all right, I'm gonna put some to-dos here. Store, actually get and store the uniform locations as part of the view. Okay. And then we have all this logic down here that I just put in. Which is obviously not going to work until we move all of that location logic. Where's the close for this so I can... Shininess. Where is the... Where does it think the closing bracket is? Right there. Okay. To do this isn't needed. Use the one passed in instead. Actually, I might be able to just do that now. So that's going to be, that's actually going to be packet terrain geometry sub I, the address of that. That's actually fine. In my uni, we had to recreate a 2D Pokemon roguelike, and in curses and all in C. It was awesome. I'll bet that was awesome. That sounds like a kick-ass project. It sounds like it'd be a lot of fun to do. That sounds really awesome. I would be interested in doing that project. All right, so I guess let me fix my formatting here. Maybe first game in Kohi. Maybe. I had something else in mind. The thing is, like, until we get a lot of our systems put in place, like, we're going to have to keep the game pretty simple and small in terms of scope. Which obviously isn't ideal for the long term, but for the short term, I think it's going to be necessary. Because we're not, like, for instance, the first game we do is not going to have any sort of physics. It's probably just going to barely have sound. We're not going to have probably any sort of super advanced lighting of any kind. It's probably just going to be probably what we have now. And eventually we'll be expanding upon these things, but we have to kind of keep it simple for right now, I guess you could say. Wait, why is... Why did all of that... Oh, right, because we need all of our directional light information and our point light information as well. Okay. So we do need all this stuff. Yeah, to put it into perspective, we are going to be doing a game this year on Kohi. I have an idea of what it's going to be. But we are going to make a very, very simple game. And I don't know if I'm going to go through like the whole publishing thing or not, because that might take more time than it's worth. But it might be a good exercise too to see what we need to do to actually get a release build out there, right? I suspect we're probably going to run into lots of issues with like older graphics cards and things like that, just not working or supporting features that we are assuming are being supported. I assume we're going to run into problems like that. But I guess we'll kind of cross that bridge when we come to it. All right. With that said, in any case, I think this is where I'm going to end the stream for tonight. So we did make some progress. We have a lot of to-dos left to do in order to get the terrain, even to render. And I think our geometry generation code should be all right. So I'm thinking once we actually get this to the point where all of our render code is hooked up, I think we should see some geometry really soon. Ferrets incoming, maybe. I don't actually know. Let's see who all is. Yeah, I think it's gonna be ferrets again. It's for a good cause, you know. I really like it. So for those of you who don't know who this is, the channel is basically Ferret Software. It's ferrets that are owned by Pirate Software, who's another game dev here on Twitch. If you're not aware of who he is, check him out. He's really awesome. He streams every day, which I wish I could do, but I can't because I do have work. But yeah, he basically hooked up a 24/7 stream of his ferrets, and just for the ad revenue alone, he's able to pay for their food and any medical bills and stuff that come up. So it's a really good cause. I like it a lot, and they're adorable. So anyway, so that's who we're going to be rating. And as far as our terrain work here, I will make sure to go ahead and push this the code so far up to the repo tonight, so that at least if you want to kind of poke around, you can do that. Of course, the repo is on GitHub, so it's just GitHub/TravisRoman/Kohi, and it's on there. So, yep, that's where I'm going to call it. So thank you guys so much for joining, and I will see you guys next time. All right, peace.